Welcome to the 2008 GB9 Midlands Classic from Riley's in Solihull. We're at the quarter-final stage of the Pro Division, and we've got a very tasty match in prospect here for you today. Karl Boys, the bronze medalist at the 2007 World Championships, takes on Mark Gray, who is currently the Europeans' #1 player. And as you see there, Karl won the lag and elected to break. Just to remind you, it's a race to 9, it's alternate break, and the tables are tapped, so you won't actually see the players using a rack or a triangle to actually rack the balls. They're racked by hand. The tapping mats have been used on these tables. Means there's a consistent rack each time, and helps to eliminate any foul play. Karl had a decent break there. He's left himself a long shot at that 3 ball into the top left hand corner as we're looking at it. Which he pots very cleanly. Comes back off one cushion to leave him the 4 ball down the rail. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, Karl Boys actually got to the semi-finals of the 2007 World Pool Championships out in Manila in the Philippines last November. Not only did he reach the semi-final, but he was the only player to come through the qualifiers, so therefore he hadn't actually earned a place before the start of the tournament. He'd come through the qualifiers and actually made it all the way through the group stages and then into the knockout stages and made it all the way to the semi-final, where he eventually lost. Had he won, of course, he'd have met Britain's Darryl Peach in the final, and it would have been an all-British final. Peachy went on to win that final. Most memorably, as most of you 9-ball fans will remember, we do actually now have a British 9-ball world champion. Karl's leaving himself there. Now there's 3 remaining balls. Here's the cue ball in the centre of the table. Always looking to do that. Make sure you've got position on the lowest numbered ball. Obviously not happy with something on the table there. A bit of dirt or a bit of cloth, lint or something. Just rolls the 7 in nicely, rolls the cue ball across to leave the 9 into the centre. And that gives Karl a 1-0 lead. Obviously Mark Gray comes from a snooker background, and snooker players aren't exactly known for the power in their break shots, but Mark has done quite well there, obviously, over the last couple of years where he's been playing 9-ball now. He's obviously worked on the break as one of the major parts of his game. Another thing you'll notice is that he has not yet moved from a snooker cue. He still plays with that same snooker cue that he used when he was playing on the main snooker tour. Actually ranked in the top 64 on the main snooker tour when he decided to pack it all in and decided to play a bit of pool. One of the first major events I remember Mark playing in was the APN 9-ball Invitational back in 2005, where he won his qualifier quite easily over in Ipswich. Came to the main event in Bournemouth and actually reached the semi-final, losing to Radoslav Babika in what was a very tough tournament. Still one of the biggest tournaments held in the UK. Nice use of the rail. Get back out for the 4 into the top left hand corner pocket. Just going to screw it, stun it down the table, play the 5 into the centre. And screws back across for the 7, which I think he's going to play down into the bottom left hand corner, play the cue ball off one rail back out to the 8. Which he does nicely. And dispatches that ball, makes it 1 each. Both of these players playing very, very quickly. Already we can see in this game we're sort of 6-7 minutes into the match and we've already completed the first 2 racks. I think it's going to be, you know, the first one to make a mistake is probably going to end up losing this match. I think the key, especially in this format, is to break and make sure you run out when it's your opportunity to do that. It's our first look at the match tables at the GB9 Midlands Classic in Solihull. As you can see, 2 tables adjacent to each other there. You can see Craig Osborne in the background with the sponsors' banners around the outside of the tables. Nice little touch. And it's also our first look at the Z9 pool table cloth, which is what's being used on these 2 match tables in the powder blue, which is what we're accustomed to now in televised tournaments. Z9 is supposed to be the finest cloth available on the market today, developed by German Klaus Zabrikas. Z9 are actually sponsoring the GB9 tour, so we'll see this on all of the match tables this season across the tour, across the 6 events. And so far from the players, the vibe has been good. I mean, the cloth seems to be playing consistently, plays with a reasonable amount of speed, which is what the players are asking for. So it will be nice to see where Z9 cloth goes into the future. Obviously competing with the giant that is Simonis. There's always room for one more in the market. Nice Karl shot there played by Karl, but he's hooked himself behind the 8 ball. He's not going to be very happy with that. Karl comes from an English pool background, so may elect to kick off one rail. Some of the more aggressive 9-ballers may opt for a jump cue here, although it does look as if the 8 ball is a bit close for a jump. But we'll see what happens. Obviously taking a long hard look at this, Karl, to decide whether he's going to kick it out. Whether he's going to elect for a jump shot. Yeah, he's gone for the short cue. And to get the height, it looks like he's going to try the more darty type technique to get the height, because the cue ball's got to get up quite quickly because it's quite close to that 8 ball. Attempting that jump shot there, and he hits it nice and cleanly. I think he was anticipating that he might be able to pop that ball, because he's actually got perfect position on the 3 ball, but he's got a little bit unlucky there. It's always the way with the jump cue. You don't tend to get the percentage shots when playing with the jump cue. Such a difficult skill to master. I mean, it's alright to jump the ball and to make contact with the object ball, but to pot it and then make position is sometimes a bit of a lottery. Obviously you're playing with the laws of physics, so it can make it a little bit of a lottery. But he's let Mark in there. As you can see, Mark in now. They're queuing down onto the 3 ball. None of the balls look in a difficult position, so Mark should feel reasonably confident that he can run these remaining balls out. Screws back nicely there to take the 5 in the side. Positional shot using 2 rails, leaves himself almost straight on that 9 ball into the corner pocket, puts it away, and it's 2-1 to Mark Gray. And obviously with the added advantage that it's now Mark's break as well, he'll want to make sure that he holds this break, which will put him into a nice commanding lead at this stage in this match. This match at the quarterfinal stage just shows you the standard in the Pro Cup division on the GB 9 Ball Tour this year. Obviously we've got the European #1 in Mark Gray and world bronze medalist in Karl Boys, who have managed to meet each other in the quarterfinal stage. British 9 Ball, the British pool is definitely going places. In 2007 we had 3 different British winners on the European Tour: Daryl Peach, Imran Majid, and then Mark himself, which is actually greater than any other nation that regularly plays on the European Tour. Obviously for a long period of time it was dominated by the Germans and the Dutch players, but Britain seems to be popping up there now with more and more results, and the game is getting stronger and stronger, which is only good for the development of the game of pool, not only in the UK but obviously to a worldwide audience. So that's 7 ball away nicely. Drops back out to centre table to drop the 7 into the bottom left hand corner as we're looking at. I think Mark has come under a bit of stick about still using a snooker cue to play 9 ball. Obviously the balls are slightly larger than snooker balls, which is why players tend to go with the slightly larger tip. But Mark is probably the thinking that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Obviously he's had a magnificent season over 2007, and looks to put this ball away. It's 3-1, and we'll see you after this very short break.